The second question. I am 60 years old, but yet the same desires persist. What is the matter with me? Narayan Das, growing old is not growing up. Time by itself does not bring wisdom. Yes, it brings many experiences, but experiences by themselves cannot deliver wisdom to you. Wisdom is a totally different phenomenon. It does not happen through experiences of the outside world. It happens when you become centered within your being, when you become rooted in your being, when you become integrated, when you are no more a crowd and you become a crystallized soul. Desires can't disappear just because you have become 60 years old. You can be 600 years old and desires will be there. In fact, more, because they will be also 600 years old. Your desires are 60 years old. They have gone deep in you in 60 years. People have this idea that when you are young, you suffer from desires. When you become old, you go beyond them. Just by being old, that is ridiculous. You don't go beyond desire just by being old. You simply become a hypocrite. You start pretending that you have gone beyond desires. Maybe you can't go into desires because there is no energy available. But the mind thinks more and more. Because you can't do anything, your whole energy becomes cerebral. The young person can do something about his desires. You cannot do, so you only think. And as death starts coming closer and closer, a great fear arises. So many desires are there which are unfulfilled. You become afraid if death comes and takes you away. And it is bound to happen sooner or later. And the possibility is of sooner than later. All those desires start taking possession of you. Fulfill us, they say. Time is short. Do something. You start going crazy. You continuously become obsessed. A moralist addressing an audience thundered, "Remember, my friends, when temptation comes your way, you must resist it. Resist it." I would like to, said one of the old men, but I am always afraid it may never come again. That fear is natural. Death may come before the temptation comes again. Who knows, it may not come again. The old man becomes more and more afraid of losing his desires. It is not an accident that Buddha introduced a new idea into the world of sannyas. he started initiating young people into sannyas. In India, the tradition was that you should take sannyas only when you are very old, after 75 years. The fourth stage, when you have done everything and only death is left, then take sannyas. That was the idea. And it was very comfortable idea, cozy idea. In the first place, very few people are going to live beyond 75. Particularly in those days and in India. Even today, very rare people will live beyond 75. So there is no fear of living after 75 and becoming a sannyasi. And if by chance you happen to live after 75, all your energies will be already wasted, gone, down the drain. Whether you take sannyas or not, you will be a sannyasin. So why not take it? People after 75 years used to take the vow of celibacy. You see the foolishness of it. A man used to come to Ramakrishna. Each religious festival, and he will give a big feast. And he was a non-vegetarian. And many animals will be cut for the feast. He was very rich. Then suddenly, all those feasts stopped. There was one great festival, and the feast was not happening. And the man had come to see Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna asked, what happened? Why are not you celebrating this feast? Have you become irreligious or something? Are you no more interested in your religion? He said, that is not the point. My teeth have fallen. And when I cannot eat, why should I bother? The feast was not for any religious reasons. The feast was simply because he wanted to enjoy. Religion was just an excuse. People can take the oath of celibacy after 75. So they are saving both the worlds. They have enjoyed this world and now they are creating a bank balance in the other. They are becoming virtuous. So cheap that it is all false. Buddha introduced the idea that young people should become sannyasins. Then it is something significant. When a young person goes beyond sex, when a young person goes beyond desires, when a young person goes beyond greed, ambition, the longing to be powerful, the ambition to be famous, then it is something tremendously meaningful, significant. Remember one thing, when you are young, you have energies. Those energies can take you to hell And those same energies can take you to heaven. Energies are neutral. It depends on you how you use them. So the first thing, just by becoming an old person does not mean that you have become wise. Wisdom needs meditation, not worldly experience. Worldly experience makes you more cunning. Hence it is very difficult to find an old man and not cunning. You can find a young man who is not cunning. You can find many children. In fact, almost all the children are innocent. They are not cunning. They have not known anything of the world. They have not learned tricks, strategies, politics, diplomacy. They are simply whatsoever they are. They are authentic. As they grow more and more, as they become acquainted with the world and all the hypocrisy around, naturally they start becoming part of the world. They start learning the same kind of strategies. By the time a person becomes old, he becomes very cunning, not wise, not intelligent. Remember, if you were stupid when you were a child, you will be more stupid when you are old. You will have a long rooted stupidity in you, with great foliage and flowers and fruits. Whatsoever you have will grow with your age. If you meditate, then meditation will grow. But just by becoming old, you cannot be wise. The ex-captain's wife paid a visit to a doctor who had achieved fame in the successful treatment of impotency. His method consisted of convincing the male patient he had the virility of a horse. The doctor consented to treat the woman's husband. A few weeks later, the doctor met the woman on the street. "Have you noticed the change you wanted in your husband?" he asked. "No," replied the woman, "but he just won the Derby." Now, a stupid old man, if you tell him that you are a horse, you can't expect anything else. He will become a horse. She will become hypnotized with the idea. Intelligence is a totally different phenomenon. Intelligence cannot be hypnotized. An intelligent person cannot be Hindu, cannot be Mohammedan, cannot be Christian. Impossible. Because these are all tricks. Hypnotic tricks. People are being hypnotized from their very childhood that you are a Hindu. A constant repetition that you are a Hindu makes you a Hindu. Nothing else. It is only a conditioning. A wise man becomes unconditioned. So the first thing I will suggest to you, Narayan Das, become unconditioned. Whatsoever your 60 years life has conditioned you for, drop it. That's what your mind is. The accumulated conditionings, drop them. And the beginning of meditation is when you start dropping your conditionings. A moment comes when you become unconditioned again, like a child. Then your intelligence explodes. And an intelligent person cannot desire. That is impossible. Because desiring only brings misery, frustration. Desiring only creates anxiety, anguish. It never brings any fulfillment, never any contentment. An intelligent person cannot go on desiring. His very intelligence is enough and desiring disappears. Not that he renounces, remember. Only fools renounce. Intelligent people don't renounce the world. They live in the world. But they live intelligently, without desiring. Whatsoever comes on their way, they enjoy. But they don't hanker for anything. Their sleep remains undisturbed. They don't dream for anything. They don't project in the future. They live in the present. Yes, Narayan Das, you are becoming old. But don't hope that just by becoming old, you will become wise enough and desires will disappear on their own account. She lay in bed, blissfully happy, on this, the first morning of her long dreamed of honeymoon. Darling, she called as she heard him puttering around in the bathroom. Did you brush your teeth yet? Yes, he could. And while I was at it, I brushed yours too. Yes, old you can become. But just by becoming old, nothing is achieved. Real growth happens inwards. It is a transformation of your interiority. And now that you are here, forget those 60 years and all the nightmares that you must have passed through those 60 years. Start your life afresh from the very beginning again. Jesus says, unless you are born again, you will not be able to enter into my kingdom of God. And he is absolutely right. You need a new birth. You have to be twice born. And to be with a master is a rebirth. It is initiation into the inner world. 60 years you have wasted on the outside, accumulating money, accumulating this and that, trying to be respectable, famous, powerful. Now get out of all those stupid games. No more games. Now let there be a single pointed search for the truth. The truth that you are. The truth that resides in you. The truth that you are made of. The truth of your consciousness. My whole effort here is to help you towards self-knowledge. It does not need time. It needs intensity, sincerity. It needs commitment. It needs a tremendous effort to go in. Because those 60 years you have created so many things on the outside which will hinder you from going in. They have become walls. You have become unbridged to your own self. You ask me, I am 60 years old, but yet the same desires persist. Good that you have become aware of it, that the same desires are still there. There are many people who are not aware. They have repressed their desires so deep that even they themselves have become unaware of them. Good that you are aware. The first ray of intelligence, that you are aware that the same desires persist. And you ask, what is the matter with me? Nothing is the matter with you. It is the same with everybody. One phase of your life is over. Now it is time to grow into another dimension. 60 years is enough time to know about the world and all that it offers, or at least promises to offer. You have known it, and it is only by knowing it that one becomes aware of the deceptiveness of it all. You have seen the illusion. Now turn in. Now become a sannyasin. You have been a worldly man up to now. And by worldly man, I simply mean one who is absolutely unaware of himself and is concerned about trivia, money, power, prestige. And I call the person sannyasin who becomes deeply interested in his own life source, who starts asking, who am I? And who starts moving towards his center. From the circumference, he changes his abode towards the center. The day you reach to your center is the day of great blessings, the day of great enlightenment. That day you transcend life and death. That day you transcend man, woman. That day you transcend all dualities. That day, for the first time, you will taste what bliss is. The third question, Bhagwan, why are you against following someone who knows the secrets of life? What is the need to discover them oneself on one's own? Sudhakar, truth cannot be transferred. That is one of the intrinsic qualities of truth. Nobody can give it to you. Yes, words can be given to you. Theories can be given to you. Theologies can be given to you, but not truth. Following somebody, you will be following his words. Following somebody, you will become a Jaina, a Mohammedan, a Buddhist. But you will never become your own self. And Buddha is an unique individual, just as you are. What he did, try to understand it. that may be helpful in your journey. But don't follow him literally. Otherwise, that will become you only phony. That will make you only a pseudo. Existence never repeats anybody. Jesus comes only once. Buddha comes only once. There has never been a person like Buddha before and will never be again. For the simple reason that existence never repeats. You are a totally new manifestation of God. It has never been before. So there has never been a person exactly like you. So whomsoever you follow, you will be following somebody who is not like you. And you will get into trouble. You can cultivate a certain character around you. You can act, but by acting, you are not going to become a Buddha. That's what the Buddhist monks have been doing for 25 centuries. Acting, performing, literally following. The way Buddha walks, they will walk. The way Buddha eats, they will eat. The way Buddha sits, they will sit. You can do all these things. And it is possible you may do even better than Buddha. Because Buddha was not imitating anybody else. He was spontaneous. When a person is spontaneous, he has no time to rehearsal it. You will have enough time to rehearsal. You may even defeat Buddha in a competition. It actually happened once. Friends of Charlie Chaplin were celebrating one of his birthdays. And they found out a beautiful way to celebrate it. They advertised in the newspapers all over England that there will be a competition, and whosoever can imitate Charlie Chaplin will be rewarded. There were 3 big rewards. Many people participated. At least 100 were chosen from different cities, and they all gathered in London for the final selection of the 3 winners. Charlie Chaplin had an idea. He entered from a different town in the competition, hoping that he is going to win the first prize. There is no question about it. But he was wrong. He got the second prize. People came to know only later on that he was also a participant. He was so much surprised that somebody who is not a Charlie Chaplin managed better than himself. Naturally, the other had practiced it long. Charlie Chaplin was just being there. There was no need to practice. He is Charlie Chaplin, so why practice? What is there to practice? But the other was more polished, more practiced. He walked better than Charlie Chaplin. He talked better than Charlie Chaplin. He outdid him. This is possible. Some Christian monk may defeat Jesus. Some Buddhist monk may defeat Buddha. But still, Buddha is Buddha, and you will be only an imitator. Still, Charlie Chaplin is Charlie Chaplin, and the man who was acting even in a better way is just acting. Deep down, he is himself. You can never be somebody else. Remember it as one of the most fundamental laws. Es Dhammo Sanantano. This is the eternal law. You can never be like somebody else. That does not mean you should not learn. Learn, but don't follow. Absorb, but go on your own way. Learn from all the enlightened ones. Sit in their feet. Absorb their presence, but go on your own way. Buddha himself said, his last statement on the earth was, be a light unto yourself. A squirrel on the ground was watching two other squirrels in a tree. One of them fell to the ground, bounced a couple of times, looked back up in the tree and said that making love in the tree is for the birds. That's why I say don't follow. Don't try to make love in the tree. That is for the birds. Otherwise you will be in the hospital. A little boy and girl squirrel were chattering and playing around when suddenly a fox appears. The girl squirrel dashed up a tree, but the boy squirrel stayed on the ground. That's strange, said the fox. Usually, squirrels are afraid of me and run up the nearest tree. Listen, said the boy squirrel. Did you ever try to climb a tree after playing with a girl for 20 minutes? Just look to your own situation. Buddha has a different space, different context, a different world. You cannot follow him. Literally, you cannot follow him. Metaphorically, you can understand him, and you can be tremendously benefited by him. You ask me, Sudhakar, why are you against following someone who knows the secrets of life? How do you know that someone knows the secrets of life? That is just a belief. Unless you know the secrets of life, you will never know that someone else knows them. And just out of belief, following somebody, you may be getting into trouble. He may not know at all. He may be a convincing talker. He may be arguing better than you can argue. He can silence you in arguments. That does not mean that he knows. He may be more articulate than you are. He may have studied the scriptures. Even the devil can quote the scriptures. How do you know that he knows the secrets of life? You can know only if you also know. You can understand Buddha really only when you are also a Buddha. You can understand Christ only when you are also a Christ. Not by following them, but by becoming awakened on your own account. Hence I say, there is the need to discover the truth by yourself. The inner truth is different from the outer truth. The outer truth can be discovered by one person and then the whole world possesses it. For example, the theory of relativity is discovered by Albert Einstein. Now, everybody else need not discover it again and again. That will be just wasting time. He took years to discover it. Now, if you are intelligent, you can understand it within days. If you are really intelligent, then within hours. There is no need to waste years in discovering it again and again. Newton discovered the law of gravitation. Now you need not go and sit in a garden and wait for the apple to fall and then brood over it and then come to the conclusion that there must be a certain magnetic force in the earth which pulls things downwards. Now if everybody has to do that, there are not so many gardens and there are not so many apple trees, and apples may not oblige you. You may go on sitting under the tree for hours, days, months. They may not fall. And do you know, even before Newton they used to fall, and thousands of people must have watched them falling, but nobody discovered the law of gravitation. So there is no certainty that even if they oblige and fall in right time, that you will discover the law of gravitation. There is no need. Newton has done it for you, for all, forever. This is the quality of the outer objective truth. Once discovered, it becomes universal. The inner truth has a totally different quality. It always remains individual. It never becomes universal. Buddha discovers it, but he cannot convey it. He cannot adequately express it. He cannot make it universal. It remains essentially individual. And whatsoever he does is just inadequate. It never fulfills the great need of the masses, that they need not discover anymore. Buddha has discovered, Jesus have discovered, now you can simply follow it. This is the beauty of the inner truth, that you have to discover it again and again afresh. And the very discovery is such a bliss that it is good that one person has not finished it forever. Otherwise there would have been no spiritual quest left. Buddha is not the first. There have been other awakened people before. One enlightened person would have done it. And then, in every primary school, you could teach it to everybody, the whole joy of discovering it would have been lost. It is beautiful that the subjective truth remains individual. Thousands of times it has been discovered, but it has not become universal yet, and it will never become universal. It will remain individual. You will have to seek and search it on your own. And when you find it, you will be surprised. It is the same truth that was found by Buddha. It is the same truth that was found by Mahavira. The same truth that was found by Muhammad or Moses. It is not the different truth, but this is the quality of the inner world, that you have to go there all alone. Nobody can accompany you. And nobody can give you ready-made maps. It is a very mysterious world inside. The outside world is not so mysterious. Maps are possible. But the inner world remains a secret, a hidden secret. Even when you have known it and you would like to share it, you cannot. All that you can share is your desire to share. That's all. Your deep compassion to share, your love for others. But the truth remains as unexpressed as before. Then why masters speak at all? They speak not to share the truth. They know it perfectly well, it cannot be shared. They speak to make your thirst for truth a flame. They speak to make you more thirsty, more hungry. They speak to create a tremendous longing in you to go inwards. Their presence, their vibe, their song, their dance, all indicate towards one thing: go in. The fifth question, Bhagwan, I don't want to die, and yet I am here with you.